memorandum of understanding. Outside of the infrastructure listed on page 1, common sense tells you the MOU is not necessary. The language on pages 2 to 5 of the MOU clouds certain areas of the actual water agreement and needs to be incorporated into the respective sections of the agreement so that the agreement is clear and concise in all areas. The first page of the MOU should be a franchise agreement, and in my opinion, having one will serve to reduce water rates to township customers. Page 1, number 2 of the MOU, I marked that your number 17. Certain water mains and facilities in the township are integral to the city water transmission and distribution system and will remain under control and ownership of the city unless hereinafter modified. Integral means the infrastructure is essential and necessary to complete the city water system. The city is currently using this infrastructure to circulate water through our township to distribute water to customers in Owosso, Corunna, and Caledonia Township, and they make good money using our right-of-ways to circulate their water. Unless hereinafter modified. Think about it. Could this mean until they modify their infrastructure by placing larger or additional pipes in township-owned right-of-ways? Could it mean until they modify by adding wells to pump water out of our township? Or could it mean until the city removes it? No matter what or how much we question, we cannot lose sight of the fact that it was mandatory for the city to obtain a franchise agreement or license agreement prior to entering township rights-of-way. By not having an agreement pertaining to city-owned infrastructure in township rights-of-way guarantees a possible lawsuit between both parties in the future. The major part of this infrastructure is the feed lines that run to and from city water, the city water tower, that cross or run along township rights-of-way and other township incorporated land. Those lines run down M21, cross in the area of the Independent Advisor, and down Dowling Drive across Vanguard property to the west side of Chestnut Street and crosses back over into city rights-of-way. These lines complete what is called the loop that continually circulates water which is necessary to prevent bacteria and etc. in municipal water. The tower also provides boosting power for fire flow protection to the west quadrant of the city as well. All extremely crucial, beneficial, and integral to the city water system while lying along or across township-owned rights-of-ways and township-incorporated land. I know a franchise agreement is necessary because of the several franchise agreements classes I have taken at MTA conferences. My guess is that Attorney Bound is very familiar with franchise agreements because our charter communications agreement and the fact that it was necessary for the township to get rights-of-way approvals when our township sewer system was installed. I have continually brought the franchise agreement to the board's attention. 3 board members just laughed when I mentioned franchise, even after they received a copy of the Understanding Township Franchises and Rights-of-Way Consents. That's going to be your Exhibit 8. I am quite sure Supervisor Miller knows this as well because one of his notes I had to obtain through the Freedom of Information Act states, MTA Legal Counsel, franchise approval to use public rights-of-way with contract with municipality for water. Recommend, do separately. This is not infrastructure that is installed, that is to be installed if they sell us water. This is infrastructure already installed that is integral, important to the city's water system. Notice the MOU states a 12-inch water main on South Delaney Road as required to serve Woodard's. As required, think about it. This is the only infrastructure on the entire page that states as required. The only reason that line is required is because of the Woodard's 425 agreement. Since the line is already addressed in the 425 agreement, there really is no need to address it here. Common sense tells me there is absolutely no reason for this infrastructure to be included in any water agreement, unless it was created to mask the real intent, and that by us signing it, it gives them the right to use our right-of-ways for the non-required infrastructure they placed in our township. Signing the MOU gives the city the authority to be in our rights-of-way and for them to do so without paying township a rightful franchise fee for using them. It is blatantly obvious that the MOU is structured as a standalone document with no expiration date. This means the MOU would remain in full force and effect throughout eternity. In speaking with Tom Newhoff regarding this, he told me he believed I was right, but I would have to talk with an attorney. Since Attorney Bounds seemed disinterested in this, I then spoke with a Michigan Township Association attorney. The attorney told me that yes, the city was wrong to have crossed our borders and used our rights-of-way without a franchise agreement, and that the township should be compensated for it. He also stated if the city pumped any water out of the township, that the township should be compensated for that through a franchise agreement as well. Road rights-of-ways are owned by the respective municipalities they fall in. Some municipalities don't even allow a person to solicit in the road right-of-ways. Think about this. Charter Communications has signed franchise agreements with all municipalities they do business with. The reason behind these agreements is to give them non-exclusive rights to place cable and etc. in the municipal-owned right-of-ways and to allow them to make money doing so. All the municipalities receive a franchise fee in return. Such agreements also serve to protect the municipalities in case it is necessary for them to install new essential service lines in their rights-of-way. Our franchise agreement with Charter states if their equipment is ever in our way, it would be necessary for Charter to either move or remove the equipment at Charter's expense. That would not be the case with the city if we arbitrarily sign off on this MOU. I seriously doubt the city would have sat idle while the township arbitrarily crossed their lines. The city already said they needed to explore ways for sources of revenue, and they found another way to do this by way of a licensing agreement.